Hi, I'm Commander Mark. You always want to learn how to draw, right? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to draw. I'm going to teach you how to conquer that flat piece of paper and draw in 3D, three-dimensional drawing. Get your pencil, get your paper. I'll be right back. How does someone control a flat piece of paper and draw in 3D? Well, you learn 7 magic words, 7 basic words, and I want to prove to you how these words really help you control the piece of paper. Take a look at this first drawing right here. Now, this is Forrest Frisco's drawing. This is his rowboat, and his tree, and his house, and his fat cartoon pig, and his airplane, and his donut. Now, this is a pretest. Now, I'd suggest that you take your piece of paper, you divide it into 6 different squares, and you draw these 6 sketches, you put a date on it, and you'll be really interested to see your improvement after just a few days, after you learn these 7 magic words. Now, let's take a look at Forrest's drawing after just 15 days of learning those magic words. Now, here's the 10-year-old boy, Forrest. Look at this. Isn't that spectacular? What an imagination. He took these magic words, and he really controlled that piece of paper. Now, anyone can do this. You can draw just as well as this. You can draw even better than this. You have to learn the magic words, and you take your imagination, and you pour it on your piece of paper, and you have control. What are those magic words? They're foreshortening. You take a circle or a square, and you draw it on its side. Shading. You put shading on one side of an object. It helps to make it look three-dimensional. Surface. You have 2 objects. If you draw one object lower on the piece of paper, it looks closer to you. Size. If you draw those 2 objects, you draw one object larger than the back object back here, this object looks closer, right? Overlapping, if you draw 2 objects, you make one object overlapped in front of this one. This looks closer, huh? Overlapping. Contour, if you draw a cylinder shape, you draw lines wrapping around the contour of the shape. It makes it look more three-dimensional. And density, if you have 2 objects and you draw one object really faint and hazy back in the background, this looks closer to you. You learn those magic words, you get control of the piece of paper, you have total control. You can draw in 3D. Get your pen and your pencil ready, and we'll go into more of the drawing lesson right after this. So you're all fueled up, right? And you're ready to blast across this piece of paper. You're going to conquer this flat surface and draw in 3D today. Really. All you need is your pencil sharp, right? You have your paper in front of you. Now let's learn the first magic word, foreshortening. Now the best way to learn foreshortening is to start by warming up with circles and squares on their sides. Take a look at this. Draw some skinny hot dog shapes. Draw 3 of them in a row. These are foreshortened circles. See, they're squished in the middle. They're almost pointed on the ends. Now, instead of drawing a square like this is a flat square. Let's draw a foreshortened square. Let's put this square on its side. 2 dots straight across from each other. Come on, you can follow along with me. Are you keeping up? Come on, get your pencil ready. 2 dots straight across from each other. Take your finger. You know what this is called? Finger aerobics. Bad joke, right? Okay. Take your finger. Ready? Take aim. Right here in the middle of the 2 dots. Okay. I hope you had good aim there. Put a dot above your finger. Put a dot below your finger. Move your finger. Now take aim between these dots. Now this is a really important drawing because this is like the foundation for all the rest of the drawings we're doing today. Take aim from this dot to this dot. Ready? Okay, we have a good foreshortened square. Let's do one more of those together. Did you get that idea? You think you can do that by yourself now? Well, let's do one more together just to make sure you have that concept in your mind about how to distort that square. 2 dots straight across from each other. One more time, you take your finger. Okay, I have good aim. I do that a lot. I practice it. Okay, a dot above and below your finger. Move your finger out of the way. Okay, 2 good foreshortened squares. Now let's take this foreshortening and let's put it to use. We have a foreshortened circle and a square. Let's start by drawing a simple table. Now this is the first level of drawing. When you learn how to draw this object really well and controlled, you have the first key to get into the land of drawing. You have foreshortening under control. Move your finger out of the way. All right, 2 straight lines down the side. Now the middle line is a wee bit longer. See, it's longer than the 2 side lines. Take your pencil, line it up right here. You see how it lines up? Now, see your pencil right here? Line that up, move this down, and you draw this line right here. Okay. Now, come in halfway, draw a line right here, draw a line right here. Now, see, these are vertical lines. These lines line up with the side of your paper over here. Make this, and the middle line's longer. Slant this up, slant that up, in direction 7 and direction 1. And there you have a simple table. I'll put shading on the left side. Let's see if you can draw that simple table right there in 30 seconds. Do you think you can? You have your confidence built up? All right, ready? I'll draw mine right here. I'll draw along with you. We'll see if we can do it in 30 seconds. Get set, go! Oh, I almost made it. And I went a little bit over time. Did you do it in 30 seconds? Good for you. Congratulations. Okay. I'm going to fix mine a bit here and make it a little bit neater. See how this shading is a little bit darker underneath that overhang. Foreshortening. This is an excellent object to practice. Once you learn how to do that in 30 seconds, you're on your way to get the land of drawing. Let's do one more foreshortening exercise. Let's draw a circle distorted. Put a circle on its side. We'll draw a flying saucer. This is a real fun one. Now draw a skinny hot dog shape right here. A nice foreshortened circle. It's almost pointed on the ends and it's squished together in the middle. Now watch this. From this point to this point, we'll draw the bottom of the flying saucer. And then we'll draw the inside of the flying saucer, the thickness of the flying saucer dish. And then we'll draw the plastic bubble on top to protect the Martian from getting hit by any of those asteroids out in space. And then we'll draw our little Martian buddy there. Put some spacesuit type material on him right there. Darken his face in a bit. And there's 2 nice eyes. And he's in a real good mood. Okay. You can make any kind of creature you want. Remember, you can use your imagination. You can add extras to any of your drawings. That's a good word, extras. Add extras to your drawings. Make them your own special creations, your own style. Put some landing gear here. And then we'll put a back wheel back here so that the flying saucer will have a safe landing. And see, it's a little bit smaller. It's in the background back there. Foreshortening. See this right here? Foreshortened circle, foreshortened circle. Now we'll shade the left side of this. Real light over here. Lighter and lighter as you go across. And then let's put a antenna up here. There's your antenna. Now draw a radar dish. Now watch this. I can put one facing this way or facing this way. I think I'll do it this way. I'll draw a C right here. And then see, this is a good foreshortened circle exercise. Look at 3. 1, 2, 3. Foreshortened circles, and then put another antenna coming out of here in the middle. And there's a little radar tongue, okay? A little darkness underneath here. Lighter and lighter as it moves up. You can even use your finger if you want to and blend that down. Pull this down right here. Lighter and lighter as it goes across. I want to show you an example of one of my students' drawings. Now take a close look at this and pick out all the different spots where you see foreshortened circles and foreshortened squares. Shading. Super important magic word. When you learn how to shade correctly, you really get control, and it helps your eye create the illusion of drawing in 3D. See, when you shade, that's what you do, is you're creating the illusion. Now look at what Troy Baker did right here. He did a very, very good exercise, and I encourage you to do it if you have some time. Stack up some simple tables, just like he did here. He stacked about 1.5 million. See how he went all the way around the outside of the paper and made it twirl around? But practice shading with those simple tables. It's a real good practice exercise. Good job, Troy. Now, we'll do an exercise together. We'll do a drawing. Get your hands loosened up. You ready to start drawing again? Okay, let's blast across this piece of paper. Let's draw a planet Saturn. Start with a very, very loose circle, then darken it in when you feel more comfortable and more confident with it. There's our large planet Saturn. Then we'll draw the rings, the vapor cloud around the planet Saturn. Now you can draw it horizontally across the paper, or if you want to be a little more exciting, a little more interesting with your drawing, you could take these vapor rings and you could tilt them a little bit at a slant. That sounds a little more interesting to me. So we'll draw a foreshortened circle. Right, see this one foreshortened circle, and then another one, the outside ring wrapping around the outside. Now watch this. On the outside vapor ring, you have to stretch the end out from this point out to this point. We're going to stretch it way out. Now watch this. Way out here, comes back in very close. See, now this is really important. Some people will just come in very close and stay close. It won't look quite as controlled as if you stretch it out. Now, we have to use shading to make this, instead of looking like a flat penny that's sitting there or a flat quarter on the paper, let's draw some shading to create the illusion this is a really round planet over here. Well, in our imagination, we'll pretend the sunlight or the light source is coming from this top area. It hits this area, so it's very bright. That's the highlight point. So it'll be very dark along the bottom. Take your pencil, start very dark, all on the bottom here. See, I'm skipping over the ring because I want this to be highlighted in the middle. Really dark along here. See, I grit my teeth and I start really plowing into my drawing when I start shading, you know. Okay, when I start to shade, I start to chuckle. It's a fun part of your drawing. It's my favorite part because, see, when you start to shade, you really help your drawing have some form and some shape. It's really a dynamic word when you learn it. All along here. And you can even get into your drawing, take your hand and blend your shading across like this. Don't knock over your easel like I'm about to. Okay, be careful. Get your drawing in there. And I'm going to use another pencil because I already wore that one out. See? Make sure you have plenty of pencils, so if you're an aggressive drawer, you have lots of lead to work with. Okay. This is a really fun exercise because you're making this round object appear more round, more three-dimensional. Okay. Very good exercise. Now, if you want to shade a cube, we'll make a floating cube out in space, all right? Take your finger, put your finger between the two dots, put a dot here, put a dot here. Shoo, 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 shoo. Two vertical lines, the middle line's longer. Make sure that middle line's longer. Connect the bottom here, connect the bottom here, and shade the left side. See the difference between this shading and that shading? Now, did you see the difference between blended shading right here and solid shading? When you shade a cube, it's a solid shading up to that corner. It really makes that corner a distinct corner. And up here, you can use your finger and use blended shading. Same object here, two different types of shading, solid shading and blended shading on this round tube. All right, you want to do one more shading exercise? This is fun, huh? When you start drawing, you start getting control of the paper, you start getting hyped up, and you start really starting to enjoy yourself. Let's draw a stack of, let me see, we'll start with a cylinder, then we'll draw a square box underneath that, then we'll put some windows and some doors in that. We'll build a building right here. Curve the bottom of the cylinder, put a dot below the middle. It's a foreshortened circle. Slant this to the right in direction 1, direction 7. It's almost like a foreshortened square back there. Okay, middle line's longer. Light lines on the bottom. Then we're going to put a doorway in here. Direction 1, darkening outside right here. And then we'll draw a cutout doorway. Draw the thickness. See how the thickness comes down from the right side. Put a hallway in the background. And then connect it over here. Now, shading's a good practice exercise right here because this is curved. So what is it? Is it solid shading or is it blended shading? Blended, right? It's a curved surface. So nice and dark, lighter and lighter as it moves across. Take your finger and blend it across. And you have a really nice effect there, real nice smooth surface. Now, let's shade this a solid shade, solid tone all the way across. Dark up underneath here. Very dark. And it gets lighter as it comes down because, see, it is curved. The overhang underneath here. Now put a shadow cast onto the ground. Shadow and shading are different. The shadow's on the ground, the shading's up here, the shadow's on the top of the building behind on the left side, and the shading's on the left side. Shadow, shading. Now I want you to take a look at this drawing. This is one of my students, so when my students did this drawing, take a look at it and pick out all the different spots where they use shading. Very important word. Surface. The next super important word to learn is when you take something, you take an object and you draw it lower in the paper, you control your shapes by using surface. And I'll show you what I mean. We'll do a drawing. We'll draw an observatory and we'll draw a roadway coming down from the observatory. Now, take your pencil. I have to get loosened up here again between each drawing. All right, curve the dome of the observatory right about here. Real loose, real sketchy. And then we'll curve the bottom from this point to this point. Connect it by curving the bottom. There, so you have a half of a sphere. Now this is where the observatory opens up and lets the lens, the telescope, come out. So put a dot right here, direction 1, direction 7. It's almost like a foreshortened square one more time behind the dome of the observatory. A vertical line. Are you keeping up with me? Now if you don't keep up with me, you can always just roughly sketch this in and catch up later after the lesson, all right? So don't get disappointed if you can't keep up with me right away. It just takes a little practice. Just flow across your paper. Don't be hesitant and try not to use your erasers too much during this lesson. Now, we'll draw the observatory telescope coming out. Draw a curve here and a curve here. Now, let's draw the lens coming out, aiming toward the stars. It's always fun to look at the stars, huh? Draw the observatory lens, see a foreshortened circle. See, we use that foreshortening a lot, don't we? And of course, shade the left side here. Now, surface. The near corner right here is drawn lower in the paper than this far corner. Surface is used in it. And also the near part of this dome is lower in the paper than the far part of the dome. Surface is used again. Surface really helps you control that piece of paper. When you draw something lower, it'll look closer to you. Now, the same thing with this doorway. The near part of the door will be lower in the paper than the far part. See, it's lower in the paper. It's lower on the surface of the paper, so this near part looks closer than the far part of the door. We'll put a window here. I don't like empty spaces in my objects and my drawings. To blend that across. Now, put a thickness on the doorway. This line right here lines up with the line in direction 7 on the observatory. See that? See how this curves and matches the thickness of the doorway. And then We'll draw the window here. Thickness is on the bottom. See, if the window's on the right side, the thickness is on the right side. Then we'll leave that other side, that other wall blank over there, and shade that in. Surface, let's make a path coming out, winding down the cliff, but as the path gets closer to you, it gets lower in the paper. Now 2 lines, line your pencil up here, direction 7, direction 7. Make sure these lines come out in direction 7 also. Now don't make this path droop. That's a mistake a lot of people do. They take this pathway and it goes whoop, like that, right? Take all your strength and push the pathway up in the same direction as this line right here, okay? Tilt it coming towards you here in direction 1. Now this, see, it stretches on the end right here, comes around, it gets a little bit larger, but also it's getting lower in the paper. All right, and then it comes around here again. It gets larger, but it's getting lower in the paper. And then when you get more confident with that line, you can darken it in. Nice, graceful lines going along like that. Let's put some cliffs and maybe some shrubbery hanging over the sides of the cliff. Now watch this. Put some grass. See that? How that grass is just loose, sketchy lines like this? Now you see I use surface a lot. The near part of the road's lower in the paper, the near part of the building, the near part of this little ledge right here is lower in the paper than the far part of the ledge using surface. This is a neat idea. You can add little extras. This is just an extra. I had an idea. Why make a blank wall, right? When you could do something interesting like put a doorway and a ledge right here. Anything you want to do. This is your drawing. It's your imagination. Unleash your imagination. Let it pour onto the piece of paper. You know, you can do anything. Anybody can draw. Anybody can create these really neat three-dimensional drawings. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do with this. It's your own territory. You're creating your own secret city or your secret kingdom, or your secret universe. Blend the cliffs across here. Now see, I'm using some shading right here. It's dark in the crevice right here. On anything that's on the left side because the sun's coming from the right side. Shading is important. Use that a lot. Of course, the near part of the road using surface is lower, so the shading over here is also lower in the paper. Using surface. See how shading helps set that roadway apart from the other? Make it nice and dark inside that room so you can tell that's the lights out. They're out grocery shopping right now. Okay? You can make little stories up when you're drawing too. You can create where your drawing's taking place, who the people are that live in your drawing or the creatures, what the creatures look like. You can do anything you want. Okay, and see, I'm going to make it nice and dark in this crevice right here. And you can make your roadway cracked a little bit if you want. Now, another idea for surface is I'm going to draw some rocks right, let's put rocks right here. We'll make it a rocky roadway. Almost sounds like ice cream, huh? Okay. Now look at this. I'm going to make one of the rocks hanging over the edge of this roadway here. But this near rock is lower in the paper than this far rock way back here. See this near rock? It's lower in the paper, so it's closer to you using surface. Now if I wanted to draw some grass tufts, this grass tuft right here, little scribble tuft of grass, is lower in the paper, and so it's closer to you than this grass tuft. And it's closer to you than this grass tuft. And it's closer to you than this grass tuft. Use surface a lot. It really helps control that drawing. I'm going to put another rock over here. Rocks are kind of fun. Plus I feel like some ice cream. Okay. Show you the left side all the way across. And you can do anything you want. Oh, that's right. I can put some more shading up here. I can put the lens and make it interesting. Maybe put a bubble lens so that they can see. This is a new type of lens on a telescope. They just invented it yesterday. I'm up on this. Blend the shading. Now, to get a really good idea of what surface means and how to control the paper using surface, take a look at this drawing by one of my students. Size. Size. Super important. Watch my hands here. I have two drawings, two objects. See what happens is the near hand is closer to you. It's larger than my hand back here. Size. Let's create that sense of illusion, that sense of depth right here on our piece of paper. Okay. We'll start by drawing a pencil going off in this direction, going off to the right. Draw a light guideline. Now, using size, remember, things that are closer to you are larger than things that are further away. Now watch this. The near part of the pencil will be a really large, round, foreshortened end, and the pencil gets smaller as it moves away from you. So, draw this line, direction 1. This line doesn't quite match this line, but it comes down just a bit. It tapers, so this end over here is smaller because it gets smaller as it goes away from you. Loose and sketchy lines, and then look at this. See this curve right here? See that? This end of the pencil is the same curve. Match that curve. Now, see, some people, they come straight down right there. Try to avoid drawing that straight line. Curve this, wrap it around the contour of your pencil. Now, draw a guideline from right in the middle. Put a dot right in the middle of that little foreshortened circle. Now, draw your pencil lid in there. That's your pencil lid. You don't need an eraser. You never make mistakes, right? You never make mistakes. You're perfect drawers, okay? So there's your pencil lid. That's going to be your guide point. For the point of the pencil, a line, a guideline in direction 1. Now, here's my end. That's the point of my pencil. Now, I want my pencil lid to come down to that point. So, from this point to that point, I'll draw a line. And then, from this point to that point, I'll connect the end. There's our pencil lid. Now, the important idea is to make sure these lines curve the same direction. So make sure this curves. Don't curve it the opposite way. Look how much larger this end of the pencil is than this far end. That's size. Darken this in. There's your pencil lid. Okay, now, let's add some shading down below here. I'm going to switch my pencil lids. I keep running out on my pencil lid. Lighter and lighter as it moves up. Real dark down here, and again, you can take your finger and blend the shading up if you want to. Lighter and lighter. See, real loose and sketchy. Don't worry about being too neat and tidy right away. That's how you learn how to draw, as you get brave and you just blast across this flat surface and have some fun with your drawing. Okay. Shade the left side. Now, we have to put a shadow on the ground. It looks like this pencil's floating around in space, so I don't want it to be floating there. I want it to be sitting on the ground. So we'll put a guideline, and we have this line over here. So let's put the shadow lying down in direction 7. There's our cast shadow. That's our guideline. And then we'll take these lines, and they all lie down along here in direction 7. Now watch this. See this point right here? I'm even going to extend this guideline off the bottom of the pencil. Our shadow's lying down. In fact, I'm even going to use my green so you can see what I'm doing. All these lines lie down in this direction. You see this? Now watch it. This shadow leaves the pencil lid and it goes along the ground. See what happens? That's your cast shadow on the ground. You can blend that across a little bit too. Okay? Let's do another drawing using size, another exercise. And this will be another pencil going off in this direction. Draw a foreshortened circle. The bottom of the pencil going up in direction 7. The top of the pencil, once again, converges down just like that. See how the near part is drawn large in the far part? Remember size. Keep size in your mind when you draw, and you really have that word under control. Okay, I'm gritting my teeth again because I'm trying to get this dark pencil lead. Whenever I start pushing my pencil hard on the paper, I really start gritting my teeth and chuckling. Shade it nice and dark, from dark to light. And then we'll draw a band wrapping around the pencil. And I'll use my chalk purple here to get some shading down. Run it from dark to light as it moves up. Really dark at the bottom, and a little bit lighter as it moves up toward the center of the pencil. And then I'll use my, give it a really nice band wrapping around the pencil right here. Okay. Now for the cast shadow, a line right here in direction 1. And keep the shadow lying down all the way across in direction 1. See this? Now this guideline, direction 7, the shadow leaves the pencil and it follows the ground. Okay. We want to do one more exercise to use size. Let's do one more. One more drawing. 2 dots straight across from each other. Put your finger in the middle. You're getting pretty good at using your finger, right? Going, uh-oh, I missed. After all the times I've done it, I still miss sometimes too. Move your finger out of the way. Connect these. So you have a foreshortened square using size. I'll show you how we use size when we draw just a simple box. Slant this and slant this. See, the near part of the box is drawn larger than the far part. Put a dot right here. Slant this. Direction 7. Turn the corner. Turn the corner. Now you can stack as many of these up as you want. I'm going to stack 15 here. Actually, I'll just stack 2, and you can stack 15 when you have some spare time. That's a good exercise, though. If you can stack 15, you really have that word, and you'll have more control over your piece of paper. Darken this in a bit, and I'll put one more stack. Foreshortened square. Don't go to the corner, go behind the corner. Okay, middle line's longer using size. There we go. Shade this in. Take a look at another one of these sketches by my students. Look closely and see all the different spots in the Secret City where the student used size. Overlapping. Overlapping. Really important. If you draw 2 objects, right? You put one object in front of the other object, this object looks closer to you. So let's draw a volcano scene with some mountains overlapping, using that overlapping a lot to create to your eye the illusion that some of these mountains will be closer to you than some of these other mountains. All right? I hope your hands are getting into your drawings and getting as messy as mine. Are they? Are you getting into your drawing? Good for you. All right, now we'll draw a foreshortened circle. We'll draw another foreshortened circle in the inside. Okay. Now that'll be the opening of our volcano. We'll slant some of these down just a bit. Now look, you don't just draw straight lines going like that. Okay, it'll be a boring volcano. Make it kind of a jagged line to represent the trees and the shrubbery and all the irregularities that are on the side of any kind of mountain you look at. And then we'll draw another volcano right here. Not another volcano, just a real steep mountain. Using overlapping. You see this one line? It comes in front of the volcano. So this mountain will look closer to you than the volcano. Okay. And, you know, we have to use variety. We can't make all the mountains looking the same. So this mountain, I'll use overlapping again. This mountain will be a small little hill in front. And then, well, I wanted to put something over here to balance it out, because if I just left it like this, the drawing would go like this, your eye would way over on this side. So let's balance the drawing by putting a smaller little, maybe skinny, and then it gets fatter like that. Use variety, different sizes and shapes. Put a dot right here, and we'll make the volcano lid popping open. You can put it over on this side, or you can put it on this side. What side do you want it on? The right or the left? Okay, we'll put it on the left. Put a dot right here. I already started over here, but that's all right. Put a volcano foreshortened circle right there. That's going to be the lid popping open. It's going to be a hollow volcano. Have you ever seen a hollow volcano before? I didn't think you did. But remember, using your imagination, right? In your creativity, you can do anything you want. Now I'm going to draw the thickness of the volcano lid. I'm going to draw the peak of the volcano coming back. Put a dot back here. And then slant the volcano. You know who lives inside the volcano? What kind of creature would you design to put inside the volcano? If you were just to have, let's say half an hour to design some kind of creature, what would you put in there? I'm going to draw a hairy, scary. You can draw any kind of character you want. Any kind of creature. It could be a moon creature or an earth creature. Now look how I shaded that. Came down the top, all right? Coming down the middle with a wiggly line, and then I'm going to shade up to that wiggly line. Now, you know what, if you wanted to do, let me show you, this is one design of shading, but I'll show you another one in a second. Watch this. Okay, there's that style with that middle line. Now here's another idea for shading, is to use some color or something and just go down the left side like this, and then use your finger and blend it across like this. See how interesting? It gives your whole mountain a tone, doesn't it? Let's make this a really bright forest. Okay, we'll draw a purple mountain back here. Forest of mountains. Okay, using the shading again. And what color do you want this mountain right here? Want it pink? Oh, we already have a pink one. Let's do an orange mountain in the background. Okay, nice and dark on the background back here. And again, blend it across. As you move your finger across like this. On the inside. Now see how the shading jumps across? That's kind of interesting when you do that. The sun's up here. It's light over here, but it's dark over here. You also see how we used overlapping to make this mountain look closer to you. And then we'll switch colors again. I'll make a green mountain back over here. See how I used overlapping right here? I made this arm overlap over in front of the volcano opening. Now this is hairy, scary climbing out. The darkness comes across, blend that across. Now this is one example of overlapping, making these mountains overlap in front of the far mountains. Now let's use overlapping again by drawing a whole row of cans going back into the distance. Draw the foreshortened circle here, a vertical line, and then curve the bottom. Now we'll use overlapping to make these cans disappearing into the distance by overlapping the cans in front of each other. Draw another foreshortened circle, another foreshortened circle, a vertical line. Now watch this. Now measure the size of this volcano. This is not a volcano, isn't it? It's a can of soup or something. Measure the distance. Now see that? Curve it in from right there. Vertical line. Now, what kind of cans do you want these to be? Spinach, right? I know you love spinach, huh? Okay, well, maybe not as much as I do, all right. But we can make them cans of peas or cans of applesauce, any kind of fruit or any kind of can of food you want. Now we'll make overlapping, used one more time, another row, foreshortened circles, and then, see, they keep moving up the page. Make sure you follow along right there. Curve the bottom. Now, using overlapping, you see? Each of these are overlapping the other ones. Dark, lighter and lighter as it moves across. Dark, lighter and lighter as it moves across. Dark on the left side, and lighter and lighter as it moves across. And then the cast shadows on the ground next to the can. Okay. You go ahead and finish those 3 drawings right there. And take a look at this drawing where overlapping is used by one of my students. Contour lines, the next important magic word, and when you control contour lines, you control the contour of surfaces to make them look 3D. You know what? If you learn all 7 of these magic words, you really have the key to get into the land of drawing. Now take a look at this. Millions of people across the country, they draw an airplane like this. Now let me show you how important these contour lines are by this example. This is a flat airplane. This is how lots of people draw. About 98% of people draw like that. Now if you learn all these magic words, all of them, you learn how to draw in 3D, three-dimensional drawing. Now let me draw a three-dimensional airplane. Now you don't have to follow along with this, just take a look at this. And I'll use contour lines to show you how it helps give this plane shape, depth, and I control it. I'll draw a little point on the end. Now look at, here comes contour lines. Contour lines wrap around the plane. See? Also I used foreshortening. I'm using shading along the bottom of the plane. Would you like to be able to draw an airplane really fast like that and really controlled like that? Well, you can. Once you learn these magic words and you practice these words and you draw 20 or 30 minutes a day, no problem. You'll be drawing just as well as me or even better than I am just through practice. It's up to you. Now, contour lines will, let me see, we'll practice by drawing an elbow bending right here. Now you go ahead and follow along with me now. Draw these lines, curving around like this. We'll draw 2 elbows. There's one elbow, and then we'll draw another elbow. Practice, practice. That's a good word. Draw, draw, draw. You have to draw a lot to become really good at controlling that piece of paper. Now, let's name this elbow A, and let's name this elbow B. Okay, elbow A and elbow B. Elbow A will come towards you by using contour lines. Now watch this. By controlling the shape of these curves, contour lines, this elbow, this point of the elbow right here, that little star right there will look like it's coming towards you by contour lines. See what happens when we change the direction of the contour lines? Look what I did. See, I'm not coming in the same direction. I changed it and made that little point right there look like it's coming towards you. Now look at see how curved these are? Don't draw these. I'll even show you an example. This is how some people do that. See that? That's not quite curved enough, is it? Curve this a lot. Make sure that's curved a lot and make that elbow come towards you. Now let's make this elbow go away from you. Let's change the direction of these lines, curve these a lot, almost like half circles. Are you keeping up with me here? This is kind of a difficult drawing, but it's really important to understand contour lines, or contour, that word. Okay. Look what happens. Isn't that neat? Just by contour, we pulled elbow A out, and we pushed this point in the elbow B, we pushed it away from you. Now let's use contour one more time with these legs. We'll draw a pair of legs right here. Now, which one do you want to call leg A and leg B? Which one? You want to call this leg A? Okay, this is leg A and leg B. Now, we can take leg A, make leg A come out towards you, and leg B go away from you. Does that sound good? Okay, leg A will come towards you by curving the lines, contour, following the contour of the cylinder or the round shape of the leg. Now, when you draw animals, or when you draw people, or when you draw trees, or you draw plants, or anything that's curved, or anything that's cylinder like this, contour will really help control that shape. Contour. Curve these the opposite way. You see how this leg's coming towards you? This leg will go away from you by curving these. Contour. Now, just to make it a little more interesting, I'll make the bands wrapping around here. I'm going to leave the top highlighted. Okay, another really good exercise to try for contour is to try to make one tube twisting in different directions. Now watch this. Let's draw one tube coming down, going away from you, and then coming down again, and then going away in another direction. That should be a good challenge for you. Foreshorten circle, vertical lines, Now watch this. I'm going to make it twist off in direction 1. I'll overlap it. Come vertical down again. Now look at this, overlapping right there at the end. See how it overlaps? Now instead of just going back again or coming towards you, let's use contour and pull it this way. See how it comes towards you in direction 7. Now put the foreshortened circle right there and overlap this part. Contour. Contour lines wrap this way all the way down. Contour lines using contour wrap this way, going in that direction, and it changes direction again. It wraps this way coming down, and look at this. It changes the direction one more time, and it wraps going this way. These are good exercises. If you want to just draw a lot of these pipes going in different directions, it's a good exercise to try to understand how to control those round cylinder shapes with these contour lines. I'm going to put a whole lot of them all the way down the side here. And even when you shade, if you wanted to shade the left side, see how my shading follows the contour of the drawing? See this? See how it all curves around the contour? And like some artists do, they even use contour, these little overlapping contour lines to help create some character to their drawing. You see, you can even make, this looks like a real soft tube now, doesn't it? And going in different directions. Now, take a look at one of these drawings that my students did, okay? And he really had control over a contour. Take a look at it. Density. I hope you have your pencil sharpener. You're keeping your pencil sharp for all these drawings. Are your hands getting tired yet? Loosen up a little bit. Make sure, because we have another drawing exercise, learning the last word of drawing, density. Super important that all these magic words work together to create a three-dimensional drawing. You're going to conquer that flat piece of paper and really draw nice three-dimensional drawings. We have another challenge here, another flat piece of paper. Let's draw a roadway or a bridge or some type of traveling system going back into the distance, into the way back distance of the drawing using density. We'll make it get hazier as it goes back. Direction 1 guideline right here. Just attack your piece of paper. Don't worry about placing it too much right away. Let's get the control down. Then you can worry about where to place your drawings after that. Going off in direction 1. Now watch this. It's going to twist back in direction 7. There's a dot here, a dot here. So we're going to continue this road up. Oop, I'm going to even go past that dot because, see, it almost has to be horizontally across from each other. Back in this distance. It gets smaller as it goes away from you using size. Now, density is when you draw an object, this near part of it's like a viaduct or a roadway. This near part of the roadway is darker with more detail than the far part. I'll draw the bottom of the bridge here, or the roadway. We'll mark arches here too. Thickness here. Now watch the twist. I'm going to make it twist again, and then twist again back here in the background. Almost horizontal dots. See how it stretches out further on the end? Comes across here. It stretches past this end and back in. See, if you make this follow too closely, it'll look incorrect. Stretch it way out on the end, just like on the rings of the planet Saturn. Twist this back here. Twist this around. And then we'll get lighter and lighter and hazier. See how when you get way back in the background, you can barely see the roadway. It just almost disappears back there. And then draw the thicknesses here, and you can just barely see that detail back there. Now, we'll darken this in. We'll get some dark lines. Okay, you can make sound effects to make your drawing a little more interesting for you. Get involved with your drawing, have a lot of fun. That's the whole idea of drawing, right? To express yourself and to enjoy yourself. Now, we'll put arches or roadways going back here in the background. Now watch this. Guideline. We'll draw the first archway right here. Make sure my arches are all vertical. It lines up at the side of my paper. There's the first archway. There's another vertical line. See, make sure they get smaller, they get thinner as they go away from you. Using density, they get less detailed too. They get hazier and less distinct. That's because of the atmosphere. See, if you're standing on one side of a cliff and you look across to the other side of the cliff, the trees on the other side will barely be discernible to your eye because of density. The atmosphere changes. Now, twist around, you can see the other side of these arches. They're smaller back here, aren't they? See what happens? They get further away from your eye. You can't see that much detail on them. And then we'll draw the thickness of this. But you know what? Oh, I'll make this the same thickness, but over here I'll show you a trick. You want to see something really cool? You want to see something really neat? Take a look at this. I'll put a thickness, but then we'll put an archway inside of an archway, a light line. Now watch this. I'm going to put another archway inside here. Looks pretty fun, huh? Okay, and then we'll put the thickness on here. Wasn't that fun? You can do neat things like that. Just it's like putting that ledgeway next to the observatory. You can do all kinds of things like that if you want to. And then, oh, got the thickness here. Can't do that. Got to be consistent. Put the thicknesses of all the arches, and then back here, well, I'll go ahead and add some detail back here too, because you can see that. See how the detail on the arches, it gets hazier as it goes back in the background. It's still pretty detailed here at the front. There at the center, it's really detailed. Put my shading right here, nice and dark. Okay, there goes my pressure again. Oh, I almost ran out of lead. Sure glad I have a couple of these sharp. Now, right up here, dark again. Take your finger if you want to and blend it across. Okay, now, using density, look how, see how it gets lighter as it comes, or darker as it comes towards you and lighter away? Using density, you don't put quite as much shading over here on the left side. And then a little bit of shading on the left side over here. And then a little bit of detail maybe, just barely on the left side over here, and then a little bit up there. See, just it all blends together into just, looks like fog back there almost because of density. Now a little more detail right here. See, don't you feel like you're the king of this piece of paper now, right? This is your territory and you're conquering it because you created this three-dimensional drawing out of nothing, out of a flat piece of paper. You made it come alive with a really nice, almost sculptured object. See, anybody can draw. You can learn how to draw. It's easy. You can even show your friends how to draw. You can teach anybody you know because you know the 7 magic words now, right? Surface, size, contour, foreshortening, overlapping, shading, density. All 7 of those help you control that piece of paper. Might be a good exercise to see if you can't write them down right now, just from memory. It's dark up underneath here. Lighter and lighter as it comes down. Look at that nice little roadway going back into the distance. Now I'll put a little more darkness here in the crevice. And just clean this drawing up just a bit. Now this is a good idea for your own secret city. You can put roadways, you can put tunnels, you can put tubes, you can build into a building, you can build out of a building, you can do roadways or pipes or pathways. One of the interesting things is about adding doorways is you can create a different interesting doorway. You can put a key-shaped doorway or a square-top doorway or ledges or something attached to the side of a building. Take a look at how one of my students really controlled density and made her drawing really a neat three-dimensional secret city. Take a look at this. For your totally cool, totally new free Plastic Club card, send your brilliant drawing in a self-addressed stamped envelope. That envelope's important. Send it to New Club Card, Post Office Box 361, Oceanside, California, 92049. Draw, 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 practice about 30 minutes a day, and you can conquer that flat piece of paper, no problem at all. Review the 7 magic words. You can have lots of fun with your drawing and your control of the piece of paper. Now, all those drawings you saw, all those examples of secret cities, is just a matter of learning those magic words and controlling it, okay? 7 magic words, and you know them, right? Foreshortening, shading, surface, size, contour, overlapping, and density. Practice these words with your friends. Teach your friends these words. Send me samples of your work if you want to. Draw your own secret cities. Remember, you can do all kinds of interesting things with your imagination to your secret cities. You can draw doorways or rockets going across, clouds. You can draw a city inside of a cloud. You can draw a city inside of a bubble underneath the ocean. You can do anything you want. Here's the address again in case you want to send me some of your drawings.
If you would like to learn more about the magic words of drawing, you can write in for Commander Mark Kissler's Draw Squad book. This book has 250 pages and includes over 300 drawing exercises. In the back of the book, Commander Mark has written a children's self-esteem chapter for parents and a special chapter for teachers entitled Creativity in the Classroom. To order your book, send check or money order for $14 to Draw Squad Book, P.O. Box 361, Oceanside, California, 92049.